Science shouldn't feel like a closed door. Welcome to Human Verified, your backstage pass to the world of high stakes research and the business of staying alive. My name is Gina Winchester, a Native American scientist, professor, author, and I've created this space where we swap dense academic jargon for fresh, no nonsense insights. Whether I'm deconstructing pharmaceutical breakthroughs, clinical trials, or the how this is legal side of STEM business, I'm here to bridge the gap between the lab bench and your daily life. It's rigorous research met with real world storytelling because understanding how science works is the ultimate power move.
Memory is time itself. There is no cognate more important than memory. Memory is fundamental to everything in the human body and essential to consciousness itself. It is one of those few cognates that is both physical and metaphysical, and without it, we would die. This editorial is brief because understanding it takes an entire year of expansive study at a level only achievable by the most advanced scientists and physicians. Memory is embedded in our very existence. In the universe, there are things called complementary pairs. Examples include up, down, left, right, matter, antimatter, light, dark, etc. It seems that in most things, and all throughout physics, if you have one thing, then there is an opposite. Only a couple of things in existence do not have complementary pairs. One of those is time. Time only moves in one direction. As far as we can tell, anti-time or going back in time is impossible because time moves only in one direction. Though some believe that this may or may not be true of all dimensions of existence. String theory posits that there are 10 dimensions of existence, not just 4. So how come the universe only seems to exist in 3 points in space and 1 point in time? And why are there endless points in time coming at us, quite literally, all the time? The observer. We are the observer. The observer affects all of existence. This is known. This is not some stoner claim, although I'm sure there are some stoners sitting by a fire diving deep into their own consciousnesses right now. Instead, this is an understanding that consciousness exists outside of space and time, and essential to that is memory. Memory is the reason time moves only in one direction, forward. Remember, no pun intended, we are the observer. We observe reality. In order to do that, we must take in information, process it, store it, and then make it available for recall. This is what collapses the possibility of multiple dimensions of time into just one, forward. Though our bodies exist to provide the perfect conditions through which consciousness can manifest in this reality, the thing that is us, that spark missing from all of AI, is consciousness. It's one of the reasons the pursuit of artificial consciousness is so sought after. To make artificial consciousness is to conquer existence and elevate ourselves to the level of gods. But consciousness is not actually created. It is manifested. It emerges into this existence through a set of conditions we do not understand. We also don't understand how that relates to memory. Memory is a cognitive act. It is also a physical act. Every cell in your body remembers. Without memory, there is no learning. There is no adaptation, and by that, no evolution. The nervous system is such an incredible thing. It is the only biological entity that we know of that affects existence and is affected by existence. The world around us can affect our minds, and our bodies can affect our existence. How this happens and the extent to which it can happen is elusive, but there is bountiful evidence of this fact. One component of this that I'll touch upon here is how our feelings could affect those around us. And I don't just mean through nonverbals, our words, or our tones. I mean that the differences in the magnetic field we emit from our bodies, which change with different cognitive states, can be felt by those around us. Our conscious state affects the magnetic field of our nervous system, amplified by our bodies, and floats around our bodies for a measurable distance. Somehow, not yet completely understood, the bodies of the people around us can sense these differences, take them in, process them, store that information, and recall it intentionally or inadvertently. They learn us. They feel us. There are all sorts of neurocognitive philosophers, theoretical neuroscientists, and experts who explore this fact of existence. But it is psychologists and neurologists who must apply this knowledge in a very real way. They take their understanding of this complexity and focus it into real medicine to help us all. In recent human verified editorials, such as Humans Need Humans and the FDA Be Trippin', I talk a little bit about how complicated memory and trauma are. And I touch on how some of this traumatic memory is even transmitted across generations in our epigenetic profiles. Because memory is a cognate that is passed down through genetic lines. Evolution requires memory. Without it, evolution cannot occur. How can we adapt to our surroundings if we do not remember them? How do we know where we are in space? What else is in the space around us, or know where we came from without memory? How can we figure out where we are going if we don't know what has happened so far? How do we perceive time if we do not capture it? How can we feel it if we do not store it? The memory system is found in every living being on the planet. It is found in bacteria, plants, fungi, and all animals. An early sign of memory in bacteria can be found in cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria evolved 2.5 to 3 million years ago and still exist today. They have an internal clock that helps them remember day versus night, giving their photosynthetic energy systems the ability to optimize their function. A staggering finding comes from fossilized evidence of the nervous system in an animal, possibly 500 million years old, that has nerves, ganglia, nerve bundles, and optic lobes. I can't even wrap my head around that, but I'm not surprised at all. Consciousness has emerged a gajillion times, over hundreds of millions of years, and across all mass extinction events, to give us what naturally exists in you. The memory of what we see is something that goes back billions of years, and via evolution is one of our greatest senses. taking in visual information, processing it, storing it, and making it available on demand is vital to our survival. It is also one of the most glorious and the most torturous components of our lives. We can experience a joy we've never known when we look upon a child for the first time. Or we can experience an agony we never knew possible when we fight on the battlefront. Memory does not make judgments about what you see and don't see. That is done by your conscious and unconscious minds. It just does what it always does. Take in information, process it, store it, and make it available for recall later on. A very simplistic organization of the memory system is short working and long-term memory, topographical memory, something I've touched upon in our Native American math and science exploration, flashbulb memory, declarative and non-declarative memory, cellular memory, sensory and motor memory, episodic and semantic memory, procedural memory, priming, and conditioning. This organization can be observed in neuroimaging, cellular, neural, and other forms of scientific examination. We see the effects of memory in learning, adaptation, and psychobehavioral disorders. PTSD has been shown to have real effects on the body stemming from the memory of life's experiences or maybe one specific event. Memory has a direct effect on how we judge our lives. Our definitions of happiness, sadness, anger, fear, hatred, love, etc., are all dependent on what we have learned, experienced, felt, and recalled. Without memory, none of that happens. So as you can see, the verifiable truth of our human existence is that memory is the most important cognate we possess. Nothing exemplifies this fact more than when we see Alzheimer's disease and dementia. Observing how the minds start to lose information and how that affects our existence has been one of the most important experiences I've ever had. I have learned so much about the human condition by observing how it breaks down. And not specific to an event, I mean the breakdown that occurs simply by aging. Age-related decline of the memory system mirrors how our memories were acquired. It is systematic, yet unimaginably complex. Because an individual's life cannot be fully captured in one specific test, we can't fully tease out exactly how someone's memory system is declining. But because of the small list of memory types I showed you above, we can categorize those types of memory and observe how they function, and we can observe how they break down. This is one component of my work during the predoctoral, postdoctoral, and working scientist phases of my life. And look how I phrased that. Memory is built into every bit of that sentence. A component denotes that I have processed, stored, and recalled different components of what I consider my work. My work is defined by what I clump into that category. The predoctoral, postdoctoral, and working scientist phases are chunks of time that I have defined. And then, of course, is my life. The life I have lived and experienced is only mine and only encompasses my experiences. It is mine because I know that I am the only one who lived it. Because I've learned the difference between me and everyone else. Memory is fundamental to my existence, as it is to every single one of yours. This editorial is just the first cursory introduction to memory, consciousness, and time. When it comes to consciousness editorials, I will first begin with memory. I can demonstrate many different concepts within it, how the nervous system works, and a plethora of other aspects of consciousness in each editorial. It will be many, many editorials. I'll do my best to provide real-world examples and show cutting-edge science in this discipline. Some of it will circle back to the bionics topics I brought up. Some will have a PTSD focus. Others will be purely pharmaceutical, and a lot of it will be neuropsychology. At some point here, I'll launch into the truths of dementia and Alzheimer's disease, but one step at a time. Again, no pun intended. But if we are to understand ourselves, what time is, and what existence is, we have to bring in the concept of memory. Mostly because how can we talk about it and learn about it if we don't possess memory? But on top of that, talking about any of this is hard without first establishing what we mean by capturing time, processing what it entails, understanding the world around us at that point in time, holding on to that information, and then making it available on demand when we want to recall it. We could try, but it is hard to see the bigger picture that way. I'm not doing that. I choose another path. I hope you are intrigued by this discussion, and I hope that it will bring to light some important thoughts and feelings you've had in your life. It is something we all know of, but don't understand. So as a neuroscientist who has spent those 26 plus years I talked about in the human verified editorial Bring Back Government Funded Science, I'll do my best to make this as tangible as possible. Thank you for spending this time with me today.